Hello for the 18th Sunday in Ordinary Time, using the first reading to the book of Exodus, chapter 16, verses 2 to 4, and verses 12 to 15. John, chapter 6, 24 to 35. And I call this a fairy tale homily. The fairy tale is The Little Prince. Well, this is a book written way back for children in 1943, and by golly, it was so well received that it sold 140 million copies, second only to the Bible. Believe that? Pretty good. My books didn't sell 140 million, maybe 140. But at any rate, and it deals with the Little Prince. And the Little Prince is a young prince who visits various planets, including the Earth. And he experiences all kinds of people, things, and animals, and whatever. In this one particular situation, the Little Prince met up with a fox. And the fox visits and he visits. And the fox said to the Little Prince, "It is only one's heart that can see clearly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." What's only one's heart can you see clearly. What is invisible and essential to the human eye. That contains a great bit of wisdom. And I think it applies here in John's gospel in particular, and a little bit also in the Old Testament and the book of Exodus, what we read today. And it is something like this. Well, in the first reading in the book of Exodus, the people are complaining about they're going through the desert and they're starving and they're thirsty, and they complain to God, and Moses talks to God and so forth. And then God sends them quail, birds to roast or whatever in the morning, and or a manna in the morning and quail at night. And they still grumble. They get tired of it and they grumble. They're seeing with their eyes and feeling from their stomachs what's important in life. And Jesus, no. You people, not Moses, but Jesus now, 1,200 years later, Jesus is saying to the Jewish people, not in the desert anymore, but in the Holy Land when he's preaching, as far as what I'm trying to tell, I'm here to take a rest and you follow me. And why are you here? Why are you following me? And Jesus said, well, I'll tell you why you're following me. You're following me because you're hungry. Yeah, you want another miracle. You're looking at me with your eyes and you want to see another miracle. And you're looking for me because of your stomach. Really? Yes, really. Jesus is trying to tell these Jews, God is trying, or Moses is trying to tell the Jews way back when, 1,200 years later, before. And Jesus is trying to tell these Jews present, you got it in life. There are things that are not visible, but are essential. And that's namely my message. And it isn't just my message, it's the message of the Father. And the Father has given messages to the world, not only in creating the world and men and women in his own image and likeness, but he is giving miracles through Moses to the world It wasn't Moses who gave manna in the desert, Jesus said. It was my Father who gave you manna in the desert. Do you realize that? Or you think it's Moses? They grumbled. I do these miracles. I'm sent by the Father to teach you the Father's way, to teach you my way. And you will not get this just by going after your stomach or going after your eyes and seeing miracles and wild, wonderful things and all the other trappings. You need to see from inside your heart what is important in life. Oh, that's not only Jesus, that's in that little prince story of the fox telling little prince. Telling him, the fox said to the little prince, it's only one's heart that can see clearly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. So Jesus says to the Jewish people, I am the bread of life. I'm the bread that come down from heaven. And you got to get in this bread, what you see with your eyes and what you taste with your mouth and what you eat with your mouth. Yeah, and it's just, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the Father's message and my message. It's love. It's forgiveness. It's giving of yourself. It's doing something for another person. It's praying. It's raising your mind and heart to my Father. Raising your mind and heart to me in prayer. And it's not the visible. It's the reality of the invisible, which is Jesus, the bread of life. It's the same Jesus that we receive in Holy Communion. It's the same God who sent the manna in the desert. It's the same God who did all those miracles in the Old Testament, the plagues, when they got out of Egypt. There's more to life than the visible. There's more in life, and it's the invisible. It's the spiritual. But it's not just you say it, but you do it. You do it from the heart. And you sacrifice yourself. From your heart, you give to another person. As I say, you love and forgive, etc., etc. Oh, how wise that fox is. I just think what a great introduction to John's gospel, who's really around unloved, where the fox is saying, it's invisible. You got to see it through your heart. Where's your heart? Where's my heart? I hope I lift my heart and my mind and my life and my everything up to God. That I try to see the reality of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the reality of true love, the reality of what truth is, the reality and the meaning of life. I love all of those 140 million copies of The Little Prince. It says, I think, what Jesus is giving us deeper insight into. Have a good day.